Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
Most people come in and say, I want to be healthy. I want to be stronger. I want to lose weight. But what does it really look like? What is has your experience been? What have you done before? What are the things that really resonated with you? What haven't? Are you a good person for an online program? Are you better go one-on-one, or are you better in a group training session?
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Ever wonder how one person can truly make an impact on the world? Tune into the Angel Next Door podcast, where we demystify early stage investing, share inspiring investor and founder stories, and explore how you can do good while doing well. New episodes drop weekly. Join us and start your journey toward meaningful change today. Hi, Heike. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Marta, I'm super excited to meet up with you after 2 years in person. This is great.
It's so amazing. So quick backstory. The podcast movement, which is a big conference for podcasters, came to Denver, Colorado almost 2 years ago. So summer 2023. And I connected with Heike there. So we're both podcasters, which she'll talk about her show as well. And we've been connected on LinkedIn, on Instagram. We're always liking each other's stuff and engaging that way. And the opportunity presented itself for us to connect again with an interview. So I'm super excited. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Heike Yates, and I'm originally from Germany. That's why I have the funny first name, and pronounce it any which way you like, guys. It's all done in love, and I help women in midlife to thrive and get unstuck. But what does it really mean? From my perspective, it's talking about fitness, nutrition, and mindset strategies that are supporting your health and your way to thrive. So more from an angle of fitness, nutrition, and mindset as it relates to what you're doing in your midlife.
Mm-hmm. And that is quite a unique approach because you hit it from all the different sides. How did you get to that specifically? I'm sure it was a journey of your own life and figuring out what was working out for you and then guiding women that way.
I find that over the years, I think every 10 years, I know every 10 years I reinvented myself somehow. In my 20s, I became a mom, and then I became a mom and was lost, and I became an aerobics teacher. And then in my 30s, I was like, oh, let's amp it up. The kids are bigger. So I started bodybuilding, and I became a bodybuilder, and was teaching all kinds of fitness classes because fitness just resonated with how my life evolved. And I could make money, and I could be financially independent even from the alimonies that I get at that point eventually. But it also worked with my kids well. We did stuff together. I remember my son and I used to go rock climbing together. Became a rock climbing instructor. And instead of sitting by the sidelines, I said, oh, I can take a class while he's teaching a class. So let's do that. I ran the Marine Corps Marathon with my daughter, who swears she will never do that again. But so over those years, the fitness just supported also where I was. And then in my 40s, I started doing ultra marathon running, anything longer than a marathon. So it just evolved and from one thing to another. And I'm always a very curious person. So my son at one point said, hey, Mom, do you want to do the Tough Mudder? And I said, oh, where do I sign up? Just send me the form. I'll do it. I had no idea, Marta, of what I actually signed myself up for. And I said, this is great. Let's do this. And then I looked at what I needed to do of climbing obstacles and jumping off a 15-foot tower and balancing on things. It was crazy. And I said, all right, I signed up for it. Let's just do it. Mm-hmm. And my husband then, he said, oh, if you guys do it, I can do it too. And I said, you're so not fit at this point. I'm like, you have no business. But he did it with us, and we all three finished the race. Wow. So it just kept, growing on me. And when I look now, I'm 63, and My group of women I talk to are midlife women over 50, although I do have clients that are in their 30s and they say, your message resonates with me. And I feel the more we can talk, or what's the word I want to use? Apply self-care.
Mm,
And although people snicker about self-care, ha ha, what's self-care?
yeah.
But self-care to me is eating healthy, exercising, de-stressing, sleeping better. And that helps us get out of the rut and get unstuck to wherever we're stuck in our lives.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think, well, with social media, there's different topics that go and become more relevant, but and I don't know if it's the people that I'm following or what it is, but there's been lots more talk about perimenopause and midlife and um, different tips and different, just there's been a huge awareness, and I love that women that are younger, like you said, in their 30s are resonating with this message because it's all about the self-care, which you just talked about, is paying attention to yourself, paying attention to your health, how that's affecting your family, your everyday life. It's not just about what you eat or whatever it is. Everything is
Mhm.
interconnected. So I love that you incorporate all of that. Let's talk a little bit more about the business side of things, with you being so active, doing all of these things, and then starting up your own business. And then you said becoming more financially independent. So tell me more.
I I thought of I wanted to own my own studio years and years and years ago. And back then, it was probably in the, let's say maybe the 90s, something around the 90s, mid 90s. I tried to apply for a loan and I was told I cannot get a loan. There was no such thing as women-owned business loans. And I was told, you don't have enough assets, you don't have enough collateral, you will not get a loan.
Mm,
Just forget about your dream and just do what you're doing. Keep teaching for other people. That will be fine. But I was so, uh, the idea of having my own place, the idea of doing what I think should happen in a fitness and Pilates studio, how people should be treated and how everything should just flow, never left my mind that I wanted to build something that I in my gut knew I wanted. But I kept getting told, you can't have a loan. And years later, actually, my husband and I looked at a house during a snowstorm. He said, this is a great location here in Maryland. This is ideal. And let's look at this house. And so we drove there, and we were the only people there looking at the house during this massive snowstorm. And we got there, we opened up the garage door. It was a regular entranceway, and it had a studio already in it. So
ooh,
I call it the formerly known garage is my boutique studio. You walked in through a door. It was not a garage door, just a regular door. You were in a reception area. It had a bathroom. It had a great room with had everything had windows, which is really important to me because I love sunlight, where I could put all the fitness equipment that I had accumulated over years that were stored in other places or in the basement. My husband said, for no other reason that this is your studio, we're going to buy this house.
oh my gosh.
We did buy the house. I opened my studio in 92, I think, my brick and mortar studio, and I never looked back.
Mm,
It was fantastic. I finally had what I wanted, and it was lower overhead, but I didn't give up on my dream. And I said, I want to build this business. I want to have a studio. I want to have a private studio where I just see one person either virtually or in person, not groups, not two, not whatever. And it worked out great. But Marta, you know that if you go to a good coach and you say, can I have Tuesday 8 o'clock? The person is probably going to say, you know what? There's a wait list for 8
yeah.
a.m. on Tuesday mornings. So that's how Pursue Your Spark, my virtual brand, for women in midlife over 50 actually started. I didn't have enough room to fit people personally with me. So the next best idea was let's start an online brand where
Mm,
I can see more people in group settings or again through Zoom, but I can spread the message that I'm sending out to all these women and also some men
okay.
to live and thrive and feel better.
That is great. What an evolution, and very grateful for technology these days to help us grow our business and help more people, right? That's
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. So how do you work with individuals then, with the Pilates, so the physical aspect of it, and then the nutrition? What do your programs look like?
I like I said, I have in-person programs where people come in person or they actually opt because they don't live around here or they're too old to drive to me and can't physically can not make it, which I just finished working with a client who's 87 and she used to come to me in person and then she came with a cane and then she came with a walker and then she couldn't any longer. And then COVID started and she says, Heike, do you do Zoom? And I was like, I'm sure Zoom. She was the very first client of my brick and mortar people who decided that she was going to Zoom with me. I said, I can teach you how to do Zoom. I do a little video. And she says, I can figure this out. Well, 87, right?
Mm,
Amazing. And so what I do is when somebody comes to me, I have a conversation. What is it that you want? What are you specifically looking for? Because most people come in and say, I want to be healthy. I want to be stronger. I want to lose weight. But what does it really look like? What is your has your experience been? What have you done before? What are the things that really resonated with you? What haven't? Are you a good person for an online program? Are you better go one-on-one or are you better in a group training session? How much hand holding do you need? How much do you know? How long have you been exercising, if at all? Are there any medical reasons why we shouldn't do certain things? If necessary, are you cleared by your doctor?
Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburg.com/podcast guest for more information.
What is your long-term goal? These are some of the really basic questions because as I found out, they're telling you all kinds of things. And once you start working with them, they go, oh, I just forgot about that. I have this and I have scoliosis and whatever else they have. But it shows up as you working with them. And I like the private environment because people start trusting you. Even in my small groups, I keep my group training to no more than 10 people for the Pursue Your Spark. I want to be in touch with what somebody really wants and also feels like they are willing and able to express their deepest feelings and concerns and not feel shy about it.
I love that. I love that it's very personalized.
Yeah.
That you ask the questions and you meet them where they're at, which means you have the opportunity to work with a variety of people. And like you said, you have some men as well, which is really nice. And I love the 87-year-old story. What are some other client stories that come to mind, that you really love in terms of transformations and things that they were able to achieve because of the shifts in lifestyle?
The person I just finished training with, and I said, I gotta hurry. I will be interviewed in just a few minutes. I gotta at least put a new shirt on. She's like, oh, great podcast. And she said to me, Heike, I have gotten so much stronger. And I said, explain. She's 38,
Mm.
mom of one. She's a single mom. And she is not a gardener, but somebody who redesigns your garden.
Mhm.
Landscaper. She's a
Oh,
landscaper. She has a
landscaper, there you
private landscaping company with a partner. And when you look at her, she looks in amazing shape. Not an ounce of fat on that girl. And she lifts mulch and she does all that physical
go.
work. You think she's great, but she has a bum knee. Her back hurts her from lifting all these heavy bags and from incorrectly lifting things.
Yeah.
So we started out, and she has a lot of questions, which is what I love. It's like, why am I doing this? How is that? Well, she tells me my neck really hurts when we do this. So I know how to work better. And she said today, Heike, I've gotten so much stronger since we worked together. But I also do my homework. She loves yoga, so
Mhm.
she does her own yoga practice at home, but I gave her some Pilates exercises to do as well to support the work we're doing. And she said, it's all about self-care. I finally dialed back to what I need, hearing what you tell me about that I need to sleep better, that I need to de-stress, that I don't need to please everybody around me, that I can just really be selfish and take care of myself. And that translated into this whole change of how I feel about myself now, that I apply the whole package. I don't just come to you or work with you once a week. I do other little things that support the process. And she says, I really can tell the difference and everything around me and how self-assured I also have become in how I present myself. And all because I took action to get to that point and I followed through. And I'm not frustrated and I'm not discouraged because I haven't reached a imaginary goal that I may have set myself.
That is so powerful. And again, that's self-awareness, right? And that's why it's so important to work with a coach, somebody to guide you, reflect back what they're seeing, but also facilitate these breakthroughs so that when you're on your own, you get to make those changes. You get to gauge where you're at and identify, right? I need to do this, I need to do that. But it's all because you had somebody there to initiate the process and also guide you,
And
support you through it.
and hold you consistent,
Yes.
not accountable, but hold you consistent.
Mhm.
See, and at first when she started working with me, I said, well, did you do your homework, the things we talked about? And she would get a little frustrated. So I stopped talking about it. I said, she knows what she needs to do. It's now on her. And I just say, how do you feel today? How did you sleep when she came in today? And she said, I slept great for 3 nights in a row. It's fantastic.
It is. It's an amazing transformation. It feels good to feel good,
It
right?
does. It does.
Tell us more about the podcast now, because obviously we want to drive the listeners to go and check out your content over there.
Come over to Pursue Your Spark, ladies, and maybe gentlemen,
Yeah.
because I said, we have male listeners as well on the Pursue Your Spark podcast. And the Pursue Your Spark podcast is really an extension of my brand that incorporates Pilates, intermittent fasting, nutrition coaching, and mindset. However, the podcast has pivoted a little bit more into the mindset arena.
Uh-huh.
What I found is that you can find all kinds of things about intermittent fasting, for instance. And I also have a standalone series that anybody can listen to, which is intermittent fasting in midlife. I created a separate, again, standalone podcast that is Pilates for women in midlife. So you can learn about these things, but where it comes, or where many falter, and you know this from your end as well, is the follow through. Why am I not taking action? Why am I sitting by the sidelines watching others have what I really want? And what does it take to pursue that spark, to get unstuck, to thrive in the things we set for ourselves? And so I pivoted the podcast in the last 6 months a little bit more towards the mindset strategies. Also, my guests incorporate that in the topics that they present at the show.
That's great. I love that. And it's, I mean, whatever the statistic is that they say mindset's like 80%, you can have all the strategy you want, but if there's no follow through, and usually there's no follow through because of those thoughts and that, keep us from actually taking action and being consistent, like you said, staying
Mhm.
consistent. So that is wonderful. So go and check out Pursue Your Spark. We'll definitely have the link in the show notes. And you also have some free resources. So you talked about your programs and how people can work with you. Tell us more about the freebies. We want to hear about the freebies.
So since we're talking podcast, I have an episode that is 20 minutes long. It doesn't take long to listen to. It's very short and to the point about how you can get unstuck and thrive. And it's a quick listen, but I know it has some really good pointers for you to add on to your walk while you're folding the laundry, empty up the dishwasher. Listen to this and see what your takeaways are. And that's a totally free resource for you to just grab and listen and make things a little bit more clear maybe about where you want to thrive.
Yes, I love that. We'll make sure and link that in the show notes. Before I ask you how people can connect with you and where do you hang out the most, I like asking my listeners my $1 million question. Are you ready?
30
Heike, what is an empowered woman then?
is a woman who knows what she wants, isn't afraid to go after it, no matter what the obstacles are, and no matter what other women or other people tell her and hold her back from doing what she's meant to do.
So powerful. It reminded me of your story of being told no so many times about the loan, and then lo and behold, you find this home that already has a studio there. It's the saying, if not this, then better. And that's what you got, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I love it. Well, how can people find you? Where do you hang out the most? I know we're connected on LinkedIn and Instagram. Which one's your favorite or both? Tell us.
I think I know most of the time I'm on Instagram. I'm a little bit on Facebook as well, where I have my private Facebook group, but most of the time on Instagram and pretty much TikTok and everywhere else too, whatever exists still. But
Right.
Instagram is very simple. My first and last name, Heike Yates, Heikeyates. And if you're looking for my website and any other information, just put in my name or pursue your spark
Mhm.
and you find me literally anywhere you hang out. Because I don't know where your listeners may hang out the most. So you can find me just by putting my name in.
Anywhere. And that's what's good about having a unique name. That's what I say. If you put Spurk and Empowered, you should be able to find me. So,
Right?
and it's good to be in different platforms. I love what you said. Little visibility tip out there. You don't know where people like to hang out. So be visible in all. Obviously, there's your preferred platform, but if somebody were to look you up, they better find you.
It's true, it's like with, for instance, Facebook. Facebook used to be, at least for my people, the hub to hang out, but it's no longer. Most of my people hang out on Instagram now.
Mm,
They're like, it's simpler, fewer ads, a
yeah.
little bit more personal. And you still get the conversation going on that, was you're like, oh, let's talk about something. You put it in the chat and you actually feel like you're talking to somebody, where on Facebook, was never felt like that, I heard.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, every platform is a little bit different, so it's good. It's good to be everywhere. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. This was lovely. I encourage everyone to go and connect with Heike and also check out her podcast. Yeah, have a great day. Thank you so much.
Hey, that was awesome. See you guys. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.